Hello and welcome back. I hope this week, this morning, this day, whatever time that this video finds you, that you're doing quite well and swirling in peaceful energy. I know I am constantly maintaining that vibration, and I have been fascinated as of late around the heart and why. Yesterday, which was Saturday, today is Sunday evening, I have been just pondering the fall of man. And it seems that everything, as you begin transcending and becoming more aware, awakening to where we are, this dream that we're in, that everything seems to be opposite from what you were initially introduced to into life. And one of those huge things is your brain and your heart. I recall for myself, maybe it's different for you, how you were raised, how much I was rewarded, encouraged to use the brain, to use the mind, from a child going to school, getting rewarded for good grades, and even in the workplace environment, getting rewarded for working hard, working as a team. And while nothing is at all wrong with any of those things, it's just emphasis on how much the brain has been rewarded for using it. And so now we're here, and yeah, we got indoctrinated into that. But there's a point that you reach in this walk back to self where you begin having this desire for what I discussed in one of the other videos, freedom. And as you search for freedom, there is so funny because there's this pull between money and self. Money and self. You want to fall into self, but you're concerned and you're worried about security, which you tie to money so frequently. And then all of a sudden the brain kicks in and logic. And now you're on this roller coaster away from self. And it's beautiful to see how gently, row, row, row your boat gently down the stream, right? Merrily, 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 merrily. Life is but a dream. And if it is a dream, if we are to row gently, just come back to self, because those who are really here on this spiritual path to discover who we are will always return to looking for self, for seeking. And it always ends up being going within, right? So that battle between money and self, it seems like it's between brain and heart. So the fall of man, going from our heart to our brain, and ascending would seem to be returning from our brain to our heart. There's some fascinating things I've been reading about the heart, which I'll share. One of which is, I had to write some of these down because I didn't want to overlook any of them, is that the heart has its own brain. I wasn't aware of that as I began delving into exploring this fascinating part of ourselves. It has an electromagnetic field, and that field, interesting enough, it's much more powerful than that of the brains. It's fascinating. And it's not physical. Of course, you have your avatar, and the avatar has its own physical heart, but there's a spiritual heart that isn't visible, I would just say, to the avatar. Now, maybe some people that might delve deeply or whatever, without even going there. Generally speaking, just like you're a spirit. You also have a spiritual center, an energetic field, and that's in the center within here. And learning to fall into this area, because it holds memory, and even aside from the power and the energetic field that it emits, it holds love. And that's the source, that's the essence of God, right? Love. So we can just literally start and stop right there. And today I was reflecting, and I went back to this money thing. It's like, yeah, you fall here, you're safe, secure. Okay, I'm here, I'm at peace. Source here, bring your focus here. And then it turns, your brain wants to take over. How is this going to be worked out? How is the money for this going to be resolved? If this family member, and I'm learning and remembering that be kind to yourself. Take time, be patient. You have devoted so many years to the brain. So much training and devotion to how to use your brain. You are on this soul journey, remembering and being supported by others, but you're doing it. And in this journey, it's all on self. It's up to you to remember to be kind. It's up to you to remember how excellent of a job that you're doing, to be patient with yourself. Because we're remembering, we're going through this rebirth, and we're going to make it. We are making it. So we're the ones that have to carry ourselves through. There's no one to reward us. There's no one to say, you're doing a good job. Maybe when we were using the brain, but we're not anymore. We're here with the heart. And with the heart, we'll notice a lot of things are going to be opposite. And that's kind of rewarding in itself to know that you're ready for this walk. You're ready for this journey. And what I've been practicing is just returning to the heart. There is nothing difficult. We can always make things more difficult than they need to be, but it's not. It's falling into the heart, that center right here. And when we're closing our eyes, when we're meditating, emitting that love and feeling that center, and it will guide you. It naturally does. We just been overriding it quite often with the brain. One thing that was posed to me, a question was, are you curious enough about your destination to follow your heart? Are you curious enough this time around in this life journey to discover what your destination is? And I'm like, yeah, I'm definitely ready for that. You're curious enough to discover what your destination is, then follow your heart. And that's going to mean nurturing that relationship, falling into it. You know, one thing when we walk around is, I had done earlier over this weekend, and I continue to do it with our eyes, not giving them a job more than what they're actually here for. And, you know, the job of the eye is to see. And why am I bringing this up? Because it's actually really helpful when you do this with your eyes to remember to fall into your heart. When we're walking around, and let's say we see someone with different color pattern outfit, instead of just looking and being a witness and just observing, they're so quick to fall into judgment. And that's just adding on another job, a task that the eyes aren't here for. This avatar isn't you anyway. You're here witnessing. So allow your eyes to see. Release the judgment. Release all of these tasks that you're placing. Just allow your eyes to see. And just by doing that, just allowing your eyes to see, judgment has to fall away. It naturally does. Judgment and all of that is up in your brain, because once you start kicking in and judging, that's that brain thinking and turning on. And it was helpful to practice that, to just go around and see every day, just see. And you become an observer and a witness to your day just by allowing your eyes to do what they're meant to do. I laugh often because now when I look back at where I was, which is always good because it's coming from a really, really good point. Everything that we have done in the past is to be commended because it got us here, right? We're here, and there's always more. So visualizing and desiring and all that, you know, it's funny because I was laughing the other day. Sometimes I actually crack myself up at my own jokes. They might not be funny, but it gave me this image of when we're on this stair step to heaven. There's this station, and everybody's in the station, like, all aboard. You know, we're going to the station, and we're all looking to get to self. That's the destination, to reach self. And one of the stations where everybody gets off, you have people getting off at the station where there's crystals, and we're working with their energies, and these are all beautiful stops. They're all beautiful stops. I've enjoyed them. They've served, and they get off at the station of crystals, you know, and maybe tuning forks, whatever it might be. And then the next stop is visualizing, which is actually the brain. So the next stop is the brain. All aboard, next stop, the brain. And everybody's off on the brain. And here we are visualizing and using logic and being fascinated. It's like a carnival at the brain stop. And meanwhile, source is waiting at the next stop, which is the heart. And there might be like a few people getting off at that station, but it's just like, what's happening? I mean, look down the tracks, and everybody is just fascinated at the brain station because there's so much that the brain can do. It's so powerful. It will have you believing that it's you because it can do God-like things. It can. It can materialize things when you visualize, but you have to understand it's taking credit for the actual source. Anytime there's duality, left hemisphere, right hemisphere, logic, thinking, that isn't the source. So we're going for the source, which is the heart. So we can hop back on the train station and go to a next stop further down, and that's the imagery that I was actually laughing at. Now, I don't think it came out that hilarious in my delivery, but it gave me a chuckle when I thought about it. And yeah, and this heart has just been left for some reason because, again, there's a carnival at this station with the brain. It's very mesmerizing what you can achieve there. But it doesn't hold a candle. It doesn't hold a candle for what can be achieved at the heart level. And so here we are, falling into the heart space. And it's going to be a lot of trust here, I have to say. And sometimes it might feel like there's no movement, but there always is. It's a very gradual thing. And I say this is the stage that really encourages you to exercise faith, patience, and love. If there's any stage that really calls for this, is at this heart stage. And yeah, and here we are. So your thoughts. You guys know I love your comments. It warms my heart. It truly does. So leave your comments below because it feels good to communicate with one another, to encourage each other on this journey. And I'll catch you guys on the next conversation. And I hope you enjoy this one. Until next time, stay blessed.